Hello, I'm
Menoth John.
and I'd like to welcome you. First of all, let me take just a moment to thank you for allowing me back into your homes. If this is your first time with us, let me extend a personal invitation for you to drag out your
miniatures
and paint along with us each week. Let's go over to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. Let's build a happy little cloud. Let's build some happy little trees. There are no limits here. You start out by believing here. You can almost paint with anything.
Holy smokes, ladies and gentlemen. After a week-long absence for the fun that was uniquely the Kingdom Con, the Con of the King, the 4-day party in San Diego, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Sunday night extravaganza. This is Menoth John, and you are watching Painting with Menoth John. But it wouldn't be Painting with Menoth John if we did not have the co-host with the host, Mr. John Spencer. Say hello to the Brushheads, Mr. John Spencer.
Hey, Brushheads.
Yeah, here we are. It is Sunday night, and that means that everything is going to be all right. Mr. John, how are you doing? It's been a couple of weeks since we've had the opportunity to gab and, shall we say, be gadflies together.
Yeah, I'm doing well. It's been a decent couple weeks.
That's good. You know, I'll tell you what, you've had a couple rough ones there, and especially when things were so cold out there in the east, and it's nice that the weather is beautiful now, and we've got the winter's behind us, sort of, I guess. Although,
yeah, that winter can die in a fire.
Yeah, that was terrible. I'm not looking forward to the next winter. I was walking Ultra Wonder Dog Zaza today, who decided to take 2 poops during the walk, which was awesome also. And my son mentioned that October was coming or something like that, and he messed up the month or something. And I said, oh, my God, don't bring that on already. That would be bad.
Yeah. I want my spring and summer and fall first.
Oh, for gosh sakes, yes. Before we get too far into the show, John, we have an action-packed, ultra-high density entertainment value podcast for all of the Brushheads tonight, whether you're watching it live, which you should be doing, because Chain Attack gets like 60 some odd people to watch their live stream, and I love us. We're a small community, but it would be sure cool to see more people in the chat room. But if you're watching on audio, tune in to us. We're here at 6:30 at night on Twitch TV. It's www.twitch.tv/MenothJohn. And join us for the Sunday night extravaganza, where we are going to release the Kraken right now. John, what are you having for your first shot of the evening?
Kraken.
Oh, God. Hey, look, we fixed the problem from the last podcast. Here we go. We're going to release the Kraken simultaneously to all the Brushheads that have joined us on the live stream, to all the legendary Brushheads, Epic, Brushhead, Eric Defoe. This one's for you. Hey, Ron.
Ron.
That is just like it was when I was drinking that in San Diego. I'm going to tell you what, John. So we've done our beverage update. For those of you watching along at home, you can see here the blue sheet of paper. This is what keeps us as on track as we are, which is not terribly on track. But the blue sheet of paper tells me that the next thing that we're going to talk about is some T-shirts. John, have you seen the Teespring?
I have.
Yes, and now
I even ordered one.
Oh, hey, there you go. And I'm going to bring up onto the feed right now for the Brushheads. I'm going to bring up what the front of the T-shirt looks like. As you can see, it is the front of the very famous monkey shot glass, where the one monkey is calling over to the other one saying, hey, Ron. Oops, I better get my drink here. And John, is there anything more festive than a monkey on a T-shirt?
I don't think so.
I'm
down with the monkeys.
Oh, yeah, you got to be down with the monkeys. And
I've even seen the monkeys in concert. That's how down with the monkeys I am.
I have too. That's amazing. It's yet another thing we have in common, John.
Yes.
And I don't remember. I think they were with the Beach Boys at the time. It was really weird. It also has a.
Mine, they were opening. They were Weird Al was opening for him.
Oh, you saw a better concert. That is without question. You saw a better concert. I now put up for the brush heads. I put the back of the T-shirt up, and on the back you can see across the shoulder blades the very stylish and swank painting with Menoth John brush head kanji logo, as designed by Peter Lippart. And then, of course, because you're paying money for the T-shirt, you should also advertise for the show. And I put on the Twitch live stream address there. So for those of you with significant others, when you're wearing this shirt, all you have to do is make sure that you tell your significant other that the thumbs should go on the blue for optimum back rubbing. So make sure that they pay attention to that. And, for sure, get out there and get yourself one of these amazing shirts. The address is teespring.com/PWMJ. So that's PWMJ, like painting with Menoth John. See how clever I am, John?
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, I only do things that help people remember stuff like this. So get out there and give me your money is basically what it boils down to. And that helps support the show and helps support the fact that we have far less technical glitches than what we used to have.
Indeed, we do.
Used to be this show was unwatchable. Now it is barely watchable. I think with this T-shirt drive, we might be able to drive it up to somewhere near not completely irritating. So that's we set achievable goals.
No promises.
No promises. This is the internet. We have to be got to be prudent. Got to be together. We got to be cohesive on that. But no promises. But get out there. www.teespring.com/MenothJohn. And excuse me, not Menoth John. PWMJ. Menoth John's the old shirt. PWMJ is the new shirt. You can't order the old shirt anymore, so don't even try. But we're at 21, and we needed 20 to fund, so you can be certain that if you go there and order it, you will get a T-shirt. There are also other styles. There's a girly shirt. There is a hoodie this time. There's a long sleeve, so that Andy Welton from the famous Cripple System podcast doesn't have an excuse to not get one this time. And check it out. Girly shirts, whatever you want, we got it. I added more. So there's one other thing, John, that I wanted to briefly touch on while we're talking about all this kind of stuff, and it's a little bit of an effort I'm calling the Drive to 175. And mostly the Drive to 175 came about as a direct result of a picture that I'm about to put on to the screens here, and it was a picture that was taken at Kingdom Con, which we're going to talk a little bit about here this evening. It was me in my Painting with Menoth John shirt. You can see the brushhead logo there on the gray. And but you'll also notice that I have an amazing gut in this picture. And that makes me less than fully happy. And so when that picture was taken, I was about 192. And I've made a conscious decision that I'm going to drive myself down to 175. And the best way that I can do that is by getting the help of the brush heads. And the way that I'm going to get the help of the brush heads is by reporting in each week with what my weight is. And when I get to that 175, we're going to have a very special release of the Kraken. And that'll be amazing. But stay tuned. This is me trying to get myself back in shape and not look like this Jabba the Hutt-like character that we see in this picture. So that's the Drive to 175. I think we've beaten this one into the ground so far, haven't we? See, I got to try and get this. Okay, I've had a lot of run-in to this week's show, and I'm going to bring it up back onto the main cam. But that was a long intro for given the amount of stuff that we've got to talk about today, John.
Yeah. And just so the brushheads know, I'm actually participating in the Drive to 175. I'm just not calling it that because I don't think I could weigh 175.
That's okay. Drive to whatever you think is a good, healthy weight for you. And kind of the idea of Drive to 175 is to get healthy. Make good, healthy choices. I travel a lot as a part of my job with Starbucks. And as a result, I have the opportunity to eat like a real clown. So I'm just trying to make better, healthier choices. I got 2 kids. And I want to be around to to be active and to do stuff with them. And I think that kind of heading down this path is a good way to do that. So I'm glad that you're going to be joining me, John.
Yeah.
Super glad. I appreciate the support. I'm going to switch the camera now over to the famous painting cam. All right, here we go. We've transitioned now. I hope the brush heads appreciate the amount of technical nonsense that's going on. You know what I'm gonna do tonight, John? I got something special I'm gonna do tonight.
Oh.
I am going to leave it on the wide angle, which you can't really see what the hell I'm doing painting anyway. But the wide angle will give you a better idea of kind of it's a little bit of a step behind the curtain. I'm gonna give the brush heads a little look behind the scenes at what it takes to pull off painting with Menoth, John, by leaving the camera pulled back a little bit. How's that sound?
That sounds cool.
Excellent. You know what else sounds cool? I want to hear about some tournament recaps, John Spencer. You've got a lot of activity this week, and I want to hear about it.
All right. Well, I won't keep anyone waiting. I'll go straight into the tournament and maybe talk about my other two games if possible.
Excellent.
We had a 35-point Commander's Crucible.
Nice.
3 lists because we were going 4 rounds. We ended up with 22 players, which, if you're going to put money on a number of players at drop zone, choose 22.
have you been getting that many have you been getting that many on a regular basis?
Yes.
Nice.
And it's kind of nice. I mean, it's also some various people. It's not always the same people again and again and again, so that's kind of cool.
Was Brett Painter a part of it?
No.
Thank God. Okay, so now we can have good discussion.
Not there. Apparently, he could not get a sitter.
He couldn't be bothered.
There were, there was Banyan and Bowie and a couple of people who might be jumping on here. I'm not sure.
So legitimate players.
So I had made up some mercenary lists, but at the last minute, didn't think they'd be as much fun in this sort of format, not as much to hide behind. So honestly, the Earthbreaker list is going to kill somebody. The Galleon list has a good chance of just dragging in these to their death.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't seem like it would be as interesting. So I went crazy and broke out my circle.
Holy cow, you went circle on them?
Yeah, brought circle out.
That's a meta bender.
Actually, since I had sold some stuff to Epic or Legendary Brushhead Cindervale, I sold some trolls to him. I had some extra cash and picked up a little extra circle to go with it.
Nice.
I brought Kaya 2, Grail, and Mosar.
Well played, sir.
Yes. The lists were pretty easy. My support was Stones with UA, Gallows Grove, Totem Hunter. Sort of my, oh, you've got support stuff? I'll have Totem Hunter. Go kill your support stuff.
There you go.
And the basic list, Kaya 2 was Kaya 2, one of each Warp Wolf.
There you go.
So Stalker, Feral, and Pureblood.
There you go. Take that, Will Pagani.
Grail was a little weirder. He was Megalith, Stalker, Gorax, Winter Argus.
Ooh, nice. Way to change it up there with the Winter Argus.
Yeah, he was kind of fun. And then Mosar had Getorix, Stalker, Pureblood.
Nice. Getorix, that thing.
Yeah, so we ended up, like a lot of people, we had 3 Convergence players, 3 Legion players, a bunch of 2s for stuff. Every faction represented.
Nice.
Except Scorn.
Except Scorn?
No Scorn.
Well, Trevor Christensen wasn't available, I take it.
Yeah, he's a little far away. And we even had both packs of minions represented.
That's amazing.
Yes, and 2 mercenary players even. It was crazy.
So was Devil Squid rocking the pigs?
Oh no, Devil Squid was actually running it so that myself and Bowie could play.
Aw, that's cool. Thanks, Devil Squid.
Yeah, we try to run, split it. We got 3 of us. We try to circle around so we can all get some games in here or there.
That's cool.
All right, so first round, I get paired up against Steve. Never going to pronounce his last name right, and he's playing Circle.
Yep.
We're not playing Circle. He's playing Convergence. So I go, well, I'll drop Kaya too because I don't feel like getting shot to death.
Sounds like Shadow Pack's
He dropped Iron Mother.
Okay.
Yeah. In Iron Mother, he had 2 of the Buzzsaw Jacks, a Ground Pounder Jack, a couple lights, some healing stuff, and some some player servitors.
Just call them all Donginators. That's what I call them.
No Donginators. No Donginators
No
at all.
Donginators?
Yeah.
Dang, he missed an opportunity.
So I looked at what he had, and I'm like, just move forward. Set up pretty well. Actually cast Dogpile on turn 2. My Feral goes in at extra speed, not strength, and not quite wrecks a jack. Does a bunch of damage. Moves back. Teleports back with the feet. The Stalker goes forward, kills kills one of the heavies. Comes back, and then Pureblood goes for a spray. Does good damage on Iron Mother. I'm like, oh, cool. That'll scare her when the Totem Hunter comes after her.
Sure.
He's in there in the back. He's just being a pain in the butt. Make people unable to shoot and stuff. And then, oh yeah, and the Laris managed to finish off the other heavy. So both of the monitors were down real quick.
Go Barknode.
Yeah. He had gotten his butt whooped, but I had used stones since he killed a stone, which I expect.
Mm-hmm.
I used a bunch of stones for healing and stuff, and they were amazing.
Nice.
Healing, taking Fury off. So he comes this turn, he does some stuff. Does some more damage. Hadn't killed any of my heavies. Does kill one of the trees, scores a point. And I decide that I'm just going to do more attrition.
Okay.
The Feral goes in and kills his other heavy, leaving him with a heavy and a light, because he was angry.
Oh my gosh. That's very angry.
Yes. And then I look and I'm like, oh, here Pureblood goes forward and sprays Iron Mother. And, game. Okay, we're good here.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, 2 sprays. I rolled fire for those 2 damage rolls.
Well,
pretty amazing.
I think it's just amazing that a Pureblood did anything. I mean, I've talked to Pagani about the Pureblood, and I wouldn't have expected them to be able to knock out a choir guy.
That's rumors of their ineptitude is vastly overstated.
Boostable Power 14 spray turns out to be completely legit.
Spray 10 even, so yeah. So that was cool. Victory in the bag's always good. Then second round, play against the pig player, Ed, and he's already played Sturm and Drang, who he wanted to play against me.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of potentially being locked later, he dropped Midas against me.
Okay.
And he's just sort of wandering up the table, so I dragged forward one of his one Warhog, put a Stalker into it, rolled just poopy enough to not kill it, leaving it with 2 boxes.
Oh.
So he murders the Stalker, does a bunch of damage to the Winter Argus, and I'm feeling bad, so I decided to do some jank.
Okay, here comes the jank.
The Gorax primals himself, teleports next to the Warhog, teleports next to Warhog, then primals himself.
Okay.
Order. Pinches him to death. The Winter Argus comes over, sprays over Midas, who also has a Bone Grinder in front.
Okay.
All sides, really. First one crits him, so he's stationary.
Nice.
I roll fire for damage again, which I boosted. Killed one behind him, the one Bone Grinder behind him. Roll again, boost on the one in front of him, so when I gallows, he'll drag forward.
Sure.
And that doesn't work. But the spray does do more damage or causes a transfer from Midas, because it was, again, fire damage roll would have killed him.
Yep.
I'm like, I'm going all in. Megalith wanders forward. Throws Geomancy's a gallows on him. I roll like 15 for damage.
Nice.
He transfers that. That's his last transfer. And I'm like, well, all in's all in. Grail just walks forward, gallows, roll 16 for damage, and that's game.
Holy cow. You got to send me them. You got me send me a pair of them dice.
You could have gotten them from Chain Attack. They were the Chain Attack Baby Seal dice.
Oh, I have those. They've never rolled for me like that. They obviously Chain Attack doesn't like Menoth John. You heard it here first, folks. Chain Attack is against Menoth John.
Well, I was wearing my Painting with Menoth John T-shirt, so maybe and my What Would Jake Van Meter Do bracelet. That helps.
See, you brought all of the totems.
Oh yeah, I bring it all.
I strongly believe, John, that the new monkey shirts are going to be at least a +3 to roll in.
Excellent. I'll wear both shirts at once.
There you go. Nice. See, this is why you're the co-host, is because you have ideas like this. Brushheads, get on it.
The tech, yeah. I have to say, those dice have, if I don't make this roll, I am going to die, they have always succeeded for me.
Nice.
Part of that is, of course, putting yourself in a position where you don't need to roll like stupid.
In which
I
case
might have
they
been
go,
able to
I
tank
can't even
this.
help you.
Yeah, I might have been able to tank his army. He wouldn't be able to get too much on me because he only had Roadhogs left. And
Okay.
they're not the most accurate, so I had a chance.
I love the
But didn't matter, I
model
won
though.
there.
I love the model though.
Yeah. So that was Grail. Next round, I play against the Mercenaries, one of the guys who's trying to qualify for the Invitational, which I can't play in because I'm helping to run it.
Yep.
But he's got Ashlyn, McBain, and Bart. McBain is the one he hasn't played yet.
Mm-hmm.
I just decide to drop Mosar because I don't want to be stuck into anything.
Sure.
So he drops Ashlyn, which I wasn't expecting. I'm like, oh, cool. Because Curse of Shadows with his beast loadout is pretty crazy.
Yep, it's a thing.
So he's got Boom Howlers and Dougal as his only support.
Wow, okay.
And he has Gallant, Rocinante, and a Mule as his... Oh, and Ian and Holt. He had Ian and Holt, too, of course.
Okay.
We do a bit of attrition. This game actually goes a long time. But he derped a little bit and underestimated how hard it is to hit a Warp Wolf, so Gallant came in and nicked up the character one, whose name just escaped, Getorix.
Yep.
And Getorix, in response, nicked him up a little bit.
Okay.
The Stalker just straight removed a Mule with Curse of Shadows because he does that.
Yeah, that's exactly what he does.
Rocinante came in and didn't do much, even on feet turn. He hurt him a lot, but didn't quite kill him.
Gotcha.
And,
Warples are a pain in the rear end. Those things, at defense 14, they're a son of a buck.
Yeah, they are. I killed a bunch of, the trees help to make Boomies not tough. Killed a bunch here or there. Mosar just hung out in the zone. I'd cleared it, and I'm like, all right, 2 points. What's up? Here's my thing. Mosar, his best thing is Pillar's Assault, right?
Yep.
I didn't cast one during the game at all.
Nice. Well played, sir.
I either would forget or just be whatever. Because it was kind of a weird game because he had to take some calls in the middle because life happened in the middle.
That'll happen, man. Life is a thing.
But it ends up, I just end up, I clear the zone. I clear the zone again because he's running a few low on models. I'd killed all his heavies.
Yep.
On his feet turn, Getrix is like, buy a headbutt.
Nice.
Boost. Roll high enough that I hit no matter what. How about you fall down, Gallant? And I'll chop you a couple times.
Yep, because it turns out even during roulette, that if you're knocked down, you're going to get hit.
Yep. And I did the same thing with the Pure Blood to Rocinante, and the Stalker finishes him off.
Very cool.
Dougal had moved forward to contest his own. Mosar shoots him to death, scored 2 more. And he decides to go all in. He does some stuff, still hasn't killed a heavy. Runs Iana in the zone. And then Ashlyn runs close just to try and, if I manage to not kill Iana, he'll be in a position to kill me.
Yep.
I do kill Iana. And then I just throw everything I can at Ash, and I teleport stones all around her so she can't add ammunition.
Sure.
Just what I can, seems okay, and then I'll put a Stalker in and see if I roll lucky. Rolled lucky, she died.
There you go. That's about all it takes.
So yeah, I got the Assassinario victory on that one.
Assassinario. You heard it here first, folks. That's a new term.
Yep. So last round, like I told you in the pre-show, there were 3 undefeateds. Myself, one of the other guys who has already qualified for our invitational, and then a guy who was really trying to get in there.
Yep.
And he got paired against. He got the pair down. The Matt who wanted to get into the invitational.
Okay.
And he played against Steve, never going to pronounce his last name right, who was already crushing souls earlier. But he made us pick out a.
Never going to pronounce it right. That's Finnish, right? That's a Finnish name.
Something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Just double checking.
We go between that or or calling him Steve Snuffleupagus.
Nice.
You know, nicknames get. So, but he loses this game, and Matt makes it into the Invitational, which makes him happy. And me and
Yay.
Chris are playing for first and second. Chris drops Fiora 2, and I drop Kaya 2.
Okay.
He puts some stuff on fire. That's what she does.
Mm-hmm.
I dogpile his Redeemer or Reckoner. Multi-fire, I put you on fire, Jack.
Well, it's a Redeemer, and it only puts you on fire if it's bonded to Fiora 2.
Like it was, yeah.
Okay.
So I do that, and I put Feral into it from downtown. Being 5s to hit, 7 total attacks. I hit like 3. Something like 3.
Yep.
Didn't kill it. Did cripple its gun, which helped a little bit.
Yep.
That was sad. Pure Blood goes so it does sprays a couple of dudes because he's got a whole unit of freaking zealots.
Yep.
Totem Hunter does kill Eris, which is awesome.
Cool.
Eris too. He forgot about the leap and the reach, and I'm like, remove, leap, reach, die?
Boom.
Seems good. So he does that. I had put my Stalker forward to tie up a bunch of the zealots too, just trying not to have them go wild.
Yep.
And that was a bad move. He killed the Stalker. Laris is not feeling good. Kaya's on fire. Stones are on fire all over the place.
Yep.
So I'm like, well, I guess I'll do some crazy stuff.
You forced me into irrational. Yeah, go ahead.
The off-malign Pureblood wanders forward after I killed a couple dudes in the way, and sprays at Fiora.
Mm-hmm.
Hits. Does like 9 damage. I rolled like a 12 or 13, something like that.
Pretty
decent.
good.
I clear some more. Laris runs forward, and I use the original bark node to boost a muzzle ladder. Hits. I can either get 7 damage through. Boost damage. 5, 5, 6. Job's a good one.
Well played, sir. I'm going to rename this podcast. I'm going to rename this podcast. Take that, Pagani.
No, it's everything. I don't think he wants to play. Well, this will make his head swim. I don't think his play style fits the Pureblood.
There you go.
I can hear his head exploding. He hates that phrase, the play style, but it's a thing.
It is a thing.
It is. I mean, your play style matters a lot. If you try and play outside your play style, it's not going to work.
No, I agreed.
But yeah, so I took home first place.
Yay! That's right, folks. We are a legitimate podcast. We can offer tech because we have at least one of the two hosts is honestly a legit player.
Yeah, I had to turn down a second invite to my own invitational I'm running.
That's great, John. Congratulations. I mean, that's wonderful. It sounds like you really fought your way through, and a faction obviously that you have some experience with, but you've been playing at least recently an awful lot of mercs, and
yeah, I hadn't played Circle in a year and a half. I'd never played Kaya 2 or Grail.
That's reasonably impressive, John. Good job. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yes, that was good.
That's more than good, sir. So let's talk a little bit about. So congratulations. I mean, that's fantastic. Great job there. I want to talk a little bit about kind of what I did at Kingdom Con, and then I'm gonna try to cut it a little bit short, just because we have a ton of flippity bloops, and we have flippity bloops left over from the last show and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to try to keep it a little bit on the short side. So the story that has to be told is about where I slept on the first night of the actual con. I talked to Peter Lipperart about being in his room, and he says, "Yeah, it's great. We get this great big suite, and we have 8 people that sleep in there. And the chain attack guys were going to be there. Well, it turns out that Trevor suffered a loss in the family. His great grandmother passed away, and God rest her soul." And so he wasn't available, but they had filled in the spots with some folks that I didn't know. And I get to the room, and I have a great Thursday night. and we're releasing the Kraken and having a good old time. And get back to the room about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I look, and there's one guy on an air mattress, and there's another guy on the couch, and then there's one guy in a queen size bed. I'm like, well, obviously they left the room in the queen size bed for me. That's very nice of them. Even though I had put my stuff on the couch, attempting to claim it as mine earlier in the night. Now, John, every con I've ever been to where I've shared a room, it's 2 people in a queen size bed. You know, I think we're all grown up enough, and we're all, able to understand our masculinity and our sexual preferences to the point where there shouldn't be really any major problems with another guy getting into bed, especially if he's taking up less than 6 inches of the bed and not even crawling underneath the covers. And about a half hour later, I start feeling the whole bed shaking as this guy is trying to get me out of the bed. And he's going, "I'm not renegotiating the sleeping arrangements at this time of the night." And I'm like still half in the bag and not even understanding what's going on around me. So I decide to go onto the floor. And so I sleep on the floor for a while. I don't have any blankets. And all I have to use as a pillow is my dirty clothes from the night before. So that's what. So I do that until about 3:30 in the morning. And then I got the idea. It's like, a bed, a tub might work as a bed. So I went into the bathroom, and I said, I'll show these guys. If they're not going to let me have a place to sleep, I'm going to take over the bathroom. Screw them. Good luck taking a pee, guys, because I'm occupying the bathroom. And went ahead and did that and slept in the bathtub until about 5:30 in the morning. And it was at that time that I had an epiphany, John. Can you imagine what that epiphany might be?
What is that?
That epiphany is that I will sleep with no one else in a room ever again. I will cut down my number of cons I go to so that I can afford to have my very own room at a con, and that is how I am rolling from this point forward. It was disastrous, but that should not throw aspersions at the wonderful party that is Kingdom Con, John. It was an amazing show. I played in the War Machine Weekend qualifiers because that was going to happen. Yeah, I'm totally of the caliber to go to the War Machine Weekend finals. But so what I did was I had my retribution with me on top of everything else because I didn't want to take any like any colossals or anything with me. And I have a deep thought, John. My deep thought is that if you're going to play in a qualifying tournament, do not change lists the morning of the event. Do not abandon the list that you've practiced for 2 months the day of the event. And I substituted up my Assyria Tier 4 theme list for a janky backlash assassination list with Kalissa because I'd seen all these colossals all over the place during the day. And it turns out that nobody was playing in the War Machine Weekend qualifier was playing colossals. Hooray! And then I got paired with Jason Flanzer in the first round.
Oh, at least you're a nice guy to play.
Oh yeah, he was a great guy to play. It's so funny. It was like he was playing the kid on the back of the bus with the headgear because he was just so nice. And it's like, I don't have to be competitive with this guy because, I could rickroll him with my left finger. And he was playing Vindictus, who he's never played before. And I have played against maybe once or twice. And, he did dirty bad things to me, John. And then I lost, obviously. But I did go 2-4. And I got to play some just great guys, though. I got to play against Patrick Burdine, who is a wonderful author. And if you guys out there, the Brushheads, if you're looking for a novella to read, he wrote it's available on Amazon. It's called The Monitor, like as in child monitor. And it is a wonderful little short novella horror story, and I highly recommend it. And I got to meet a whole bunch of new people. And I highly recommend Kingdom Con. But here's something I cannot highly recommend. So listen close, Brushheads. Do not play Drunk Quest. Drunk Quest is a terrible thing for bad people. and I stayed away from it, and I'm really glad that I did because there was like fights that broke out and stuff like that. So it turns out when you put a drinking game at a con, that which is essentially a con is just an excuse to have a drinking game in and of itself, and then you like put structure around it, you're asking for a bad time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I would say that Kingdom Con good, Drunk Quest bad, and the folks in the Southern California meta, Tin Man XL, all the guys that I met, and I'm sorry if I'm not remembering all the names. Highly recommend them to everybody. Joe from IC Led People, I got a chance to meet. That guy is a legit gentleman, and if you need commission painting work done, I highly recommend IC Led People. And yeah, there you go. That's my Kingdom Con report. It was a thing. Next year when I go, I am going to see. I'm going to do more things than just War Machine.
It's always good to do at a con, especially at a scenic location like San Diego.
Yeah, I mean, and I did get a chance to hook up with a high school friend of mine who I hadn't seen in like 30 years, and she and I had a nice lunch together and caught up, and it was good times, real good times. So, yeah. Anyway, so we have about 400,000 free flippity bloops, right?
Quite a few.
So I'm gonna start off. I gotta get the Roaring Dans here. I need the more potent stuff for this segment. As you remember, Brushheads, from the last podcast, we did not get all of the flippity bloops done, and it turns out we got more flippity bloops this week than even last week. So we're gonna do our level best to push through these. We're gonna use all of our powers of awesome, and as you can tell from the battle report, John has more powers of awesome than I do. So let's kick this thing off to the Brushheads, the ultimate Brushheads, the legendary Brushheads. I keep on creating new levels of Brushhead every time I say this.
You do.
Here's to all of you. Hey, Ron.
Ron.
A little bit of maple syrup in there. It's awfully nice. All right, flippity bloop.
All right. We'll start with one from one Good Day bloke.
Uh-oh.
When was the last time you wore a tactical combat thong?
You know, that's a really interesting question. So this boils. I'm going to do this really quick. This comes from a comment that I painted Alara, and I couldn't figure out a good place to put pants on her. So what I thought I would do is I would paint skin tone on her rump roast, and then I painted a burgundy tactical combat thong on her, thinking that this would be absolutely delightful. I mean, it sounds great. It sounds wholesome. It sounds totally legitimate, like what you would wear into battle. And I received a frowny face literally a minute and a half after I put it up on the Painting with Menoth John Facebook page, which I highly recommend anybody who's hearing my voice, you join up with us, because that is where you can get the most up-to-date count on how many T-shirts I've sold. And he frowny faced it because I went a little cheesecake with it. The Alara model is easily the most anime-influenced retribution model so far. And I just decided to cheesecake it up a little bit, and received the negative feedback there. And so what G'day is referencing there is my use of the tactical combat thong on Alara. And I would say that I have never worn a tactical combat thong, but I hope for all the Brushhead's sake that I never do, because nobody wants that. What about you, John? When was the last time you were in a tactical combat thong?
No one wants to see me in any kind of thong ever.
If I want to put dental floss up my butt, I'll just go get the cheap dental floss. I mean, let's be honest here.
Yeah, just skip the middleman. Go straight to it.
Just go right. I prefer Oral B at that point. So there you go, flippity bloop.
All right. Well, next one we're going to get into is from the Seething Ginger. Do you prefer to paint classically sculpted or digitally sculpted models, and do you notice the difference?
Oh boy. Okay, so classically sculpted, I guess I kind of have to dip back into the memory banks, and some of those models would be some of the older ones from Privateer versus, I mean, the one I'm holding right now, the Earthbreaker, is clearly a digitally molded.
Sculpted, yeah.
Yeah, it's clearly digitally sculpted. I have to tell you, I love the detail on the digital sculpts. I really do. Like I said, I just finished up Ilara. Ilara is a beautiful model. A pain in the penis to put together, but a beautiful model. I think I like painting the digitally sculpted ones. I don't really notice a huge difference in the painting quality, but man, do I love the detail that they're able to put on some of these models. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I haven't really. I mean, I hadn't noticed a difference, but thinking about it, I think I would notice a difference if I sat down and thought about it, because the digital sculpts definitely have better detail, meaning not just pouches everywhere and this and that. It's more integral detail. It looks like it fits better. But in general, I hadn't noticed, and I don't really care which one I paint. I mean, all the models look pretty good, the
Yep.
newer ones at least.
I didn't. I would have thought that maybe some of the or more organic Hordes models would have suffered a little bit in the translation to digital. But then you look at Una, and there you have a very
Uh,
clearly digitally sculpted item, and they did a beautiful job on Una.
yeah, she's amazing. I can't wait to get her.
Yep. So flippity bloop on that one.
All right, Joseph Merrick asks, of all the Merc Warcasters, which is the most underrated or just not taken in tournaments because of other stronger choices?
Boy, that's a good question. Of the Mercs, I don't. Okay, you're gonna have to correct me on this, John, because I'm probably gonna say something insanely stupid at some point during this response. Um, I don't think. I think that Osram is considered like a weaker option, or no, I'm gonna say Durgant Madhammer. I'm gonna say Durgant Madhammer. I think he's considered to be a weaker dwarf option, but boy, I'll tell you what. Every time I've faced him and every time I've used him, I've had good experiences, and he's got a nice sort of portfolio of spells and synergies with some of those Merc models that I think really turns him on. What do you think, John?
I think most of the Merc players actually have a healthy respect for Mad Hammer now. I actually think that it would be more of a Epic Magnus 2.
Oh, you
He's
hit on a
got a
good
lot of
ones there.
tools. He can get some renegades in there. He can play a good game. He plays the support kind of game where he can just hang in the backfield, affect the game through renegades, which are good anyways, and bring crazy assassinations to the table.
Yep.
Um, and honestly, Calamity is amazing, and Calamity plus Harm is silly, silly good.
Yep, absolutely. Tell me your opinion on Magnus 1, because I know he's so highly maligned. Is it just because
I'm,
is it because of the how prevalent purification is in the game now? Is that where
oh yeah,
his stock has dropped?
he straight loses to Purification.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there's few casters. It's like him and funny enough, Morvana 1 are the two that just straight lose to Purification.
Yep.
I mean, and he's got some game, and if you can play a 3 list or you don't have to play all your lists, Magnus 1 can do some crazy good stuff with Warjacks.
Yep.
I mean, he's got a Warjack for that. You put 3 or 4, you put some good toolbox Warjacks in. He's like, I got a Warjack for that.
Nice.
Need to tank something? Here, I'll put my armor buff on a rover, and boom. Oh, I need to shoot something far away? Here's snipe on a rover. Boom.
Hey, funny you should mention the rover, and I'm sharing this with the brushheads first. I got a message on Facebook today from Charlie Holloway, and my hippie rover is nearing completion. So wait till you see this thing. It may not be tournament legal after he's done with it. I don't care. He's totally hippified it. It's a very tie dye, hippy dippy kind of rover. I am excited as hell about it. So stay tuned, guys. I'll post pictures the second it shows up here at Painting with Menoth John Central. You know, John, this
All right.
painting this Earthbreaker is going to be a lot of work.
Yeah, it's going to take a while. I haven't even started mine yet.
Anyway, so flippity bloop.
All right, let's see here. Flippity bloop. Charles Collins says, Menoth seem to do a little better at Kingdom Come, but what's been holding them back?
You know, I've been trying to understand that myself, John. Protectorate got very in vogue there for a while. I think it's lacking creativity right now. I really do. I think that we've gotten ourselves to the point where, People are looking at the Fiora 2, Harbinger, either Sevi 1 or Krios 1, which are wonderful casters, but they're getting caught up in getting teched for a little bit. I think the faction needs to think outside the box a little bit more. I'm seeing some really nifty Vindictus lists. We saw Mr. Jason Flanzer run Vindictus very successfully at Kingdom Con. And I also played against Owen from Mini Wargaming at Adepticon with a very interesting Vindictus build. He might be somewhere where we see these colossals starting to fall a little bit out of vogue and more troops coming on board. Vindictus is a very strong anti-troop caster. Maybe that's where we're headed. Maybe that's where we need to go as a faction. So as for me right now, I'm still living the elfin dream. I found a Ron list that Ron that I'm pretty fond of, and so I'm going to be rocking the Ron here for a little bit. But I'll tell you that might be the problem, is that we're in that Harbinger, Severius, Krios 1 sort of malaise right now, and we as a faction need to grow. And it's nice to see somebody with the kind of full toolkit that Jason Flanzer brings to the party to maybe start to champion us a little bit and start showing us some new ways. What do you think, John?
Well, I'm going to agree with what Tionis Bladesbane said in the chat room there. He's also the Seething Ginger, who flippity-blipped a couple before. The new Steamroller kind of does hurt Mammoth's style. They'd gone into the gun line, and the gun line doesn't work as well.
Yeah, thank you, John Damaris.
And honestly, they did so well, and it wasn't necessarily high-end well, but just did so middle high-end well that people know what they do, and like you said, they're not thinking outside the box, and that's going to hurt them.
I think with everybody and their mother that plays the Convergence, bringing Lucant is such a strong answer for a typical Menoth gun line. I think we need to start going back to our melee roots a little bit and figure out ways to kind of plus up armor, plus up those things to be able to deliver some of our hard-hitting weapon masters. So we'll see where this goes out. I mean, it's a strong question, and at some point here I'm going to switch back to Protectorate, and I hope that there's an answer, because I don't have that kind of creativity to bring to the party. Flippity bloop.
All right. Scott Hebel II asks an easy one. Is the Judicator the best-looking Colossal / Gargantuan?
Oh, I don't know. This is a hard question because this show was founded on the shoulders of a Judicator.
That's true, but Archangel Mountain King, and I'll just drop the mic and walk away.
Those are amazing models.
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy coming from a guy who doesn't really play Menoth. I like the Judicator. I think it looks I like its aesthetic.
Yep.
I like the Galleon aesthetic, but that's sort of for different orky reasons. I'm going to work it hard from GW days, but
looks a little bodged, you're saying?
Yeah, but man, the Mountain King and the Archangel are just effing amazing.
If we limit the discussion to just Colossals, I won't
argue it.
I think that the Judicator, I think the Stormwall is a beautiful, beautiful model too. I mean,
some people don't like it's got a very Gundam sort of aesthetic to it. It's very clean, looks the wrong technology scale because it's all curved armor, very Japanese animation. More so even than the Ret one.
Oh, I kind of disagree with that, because if you look, it looks like a natural progression from the Thunderhead. It
does, but the Thunderhead's kind of got that, maybe sort of anime look to it also. So
okay, well,
it's different aesthetics, but I'm down with the Judicator being the best looking Colossal.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess I'm Menoth John, god dang it, and I'm not going to say that the Judicator is anything other than the best thing that since sliced bread. So, and part of my problem is that I put him in like every friggin' list, but. Anyway, so I guess, at some point I may even need to dial back on my Judicator for the very reasons that we just talked about, trying to take it to that next level in Protectorate. But it is a beautiful model, and I think that, I'll say best one. Take that, Internet. Boom.
All right. Well, now we're getting into some weird ones that might be a little more complicated.
Okay.
I'll get the
Okay.
troll one out of the way.
All right.
Brett Painter asks, how to get out of a rut and back into the game? My answer is find a sitter and actually come up and play in tournaments or on Tuesday nights or on Friday nights or on Saturday.
At some point in time, come on, Painter. I mean, we
Yeah, just come
know
up and,
you got a busy life and all, but come on, step up.
yeah.
And
Scott's
honestly,
own motto.
how do you get out of a rut? I do like to go to my off factions as a little slice of rejuvenation. You know, I play the Protectorate, you know, the most seriously. I think that they of the factions that I play, I think they're the strongest. Is despite running the occasional little bit of flack that they're clearly underpowered and all that kind of stuff. But I like to. That's why I mix in my Ret. That's why I mix in my Mercs. I think that goes a long ways towards fixing my a little bit of attention span. And so that's one way I get out of a rut. The other way I get out of a rut is to put together something fun like that Thyra list that we talked about, Brett. You know, where you have something that is you pick some models that maybe aren't seeing the kind of love nationally or on the forums, and try to come up with something fun for them. And that Thyra list with the Flamebringers and 2 units of Daughters, along with maybe some units that are a little bit more highly thought of, like Bastions and Zealots. You can have a lot of fun creating lists around or championing a model or unit that maybe isn't seeing the love it ought to. So that's another good way to get out of a rut. What do you think, John?
I think you took the trolling question and went straight into actual legitimate deep thoughts.
Oh, sorry, man. I didn't mean to do that to this show because I mean this is painting with men off
No,
John, man.
you're absolutely right. He just needs to get out and play some and just start pushing through it. I think his was more of getting out to play more than anything.
I'll have to harass him a little bit.
Yeah.
We don't tease him enough on this show. We may need to kick
No,
it
we
up a
don't.
notch.
I want tears.
Holy cow, John! This Earthbreaker has more stinking metal on it. Oh my God! How did I stop airbrushing at the point that I decided to stop airbrushing at? That's what I want to know. Anyway,
Because you can't air breath on the video there. So
there is that. That's the straight up truth right there. Flippity bloop.
all right, quick one. Brandon McLean asks your 2014 Stanley Cup prediction.
Who's in it right now? We got the Wild and the Blackhawks. I know that much. And then we have God, I don't know. So I don't know who's left in the East. So I'm gonna say there is no way that I will root for anything from the state of Minnesota ever. So the hell with them, hell with the Wild. So we got the Blackhawks in the Stanley Cup, and then I'll take a safe bet from the East and say the Pittsburgh Penguins are in there as a guess.
They are still in there. My funny joke would be they play hockey with that. No, I know they play hockey. I would say for no reason that I can think of the Boston Bruins because the Bruins was my high school mascot.
Sweet. You know, if the Bruins are still in there, then I have to root for all original 6 final, which would be the Blackhawks with the Bruins, and then I'm gonna root. I got to go with Chicago. I mean, they're local, and my son loves the Blackhawks, my youngest boy, so I'm gonna go with the Blackhawks winning it 2 years in a row. See, I'm showing a little bit of my sports knowledge here by saying I know that they won it last year. So anyway,
Yeah.
I know, right? So we're gonna go with that and flippity bloop.
All right, Jesse Carr says, suddenly and inexplicably, the world supply of Kraken goes dry. Ron is sad. What do you drink on camera?
Holy cow. First off, we don't want to think about a day like that. So here's to not ever running out of the Kraken. So, hey, Ron. This Roaring Dan's is a sad excuse for Kraken, let me tell you what. And it's like twice the price. So, the hell with... I will never have the Roaring Dan's again.
Fair enough.
So I'm going to turn to, we're going to break this down into 2 sides, John. One is beer, and I'm holding it up for the brush heads right now. This is the beer I would go to. It's not the Spotted Cow. It's the 2 Women from New Glarus. Spotted Cow is lovely. Don't get me wrong, but the 2 Women from New Glarus is amazing. And then if we're going to talk about the hard liquor, if the Kraken went away, I need a rum that I can just drink. So I think I'm
Yeah.
probably going to have to go with Captain Morgan's.
Oh,
I
it's
think.
drinkable.
Yeah. I think all the other stuff gives me the little willies. I get the shakes from it, and the Kraken's so smooth it just kind of goes down. So I'm gonna go with the Captain Morgan's. I'll go with they've got like a fancier one, so I'll go with whatever that one is.
I'm gonna stick with this, black cherry infused Jim Beam whiskey I have because it mixes well with my favorite drinks.
There you go. Yeah, that drink that you have, buddy, where you're drinking it with the Dr Pepper sounds absolutely legit.
It's the cherry Dr Pepper. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds just legit. So flippity bloop.
All right, still a bunch left. They're starting to get a little more
We got time.
in depth. So, my buddy Frank Thompson asks, I'm looking for opinions on a caster to play against opponents who are dropping a hard screw offensive magic when he has Ron as his main, and that's his favorite.
So they're dropping hard against magic on him.
Yeah.
Ossian.
Ossian, Raven, or Kalissa. I
I
love the whole stable of their factions, but those are probably the 3 ones you should look at, whichever one you get best with.
Yeah,
Raven can make those guys sad because all the stuff that's great anti-magic generally does not like getting shot in the face.
Right. If they're the stuff that they're dropping as part of their anti-magic does not have a hard armor skew, then Raven is absolutely your answer, because she will she fixes the dice. It's like Retribution's got this thing where they'll fix one set of dice for you every game, and if you've got that little bit higher defense kind of guys, drop that Raven on them and watch all that high defense, low armor stuff just evaporate off the table. I am going to say this though. I found a Ron list that doesn't give two darns against anti-magic.
Oh, really?
Yep. I found him on the last day of Kingdom Con, and it kept me from getting the Retribution beaten completely out of me at Kingdom Con. The list was, and I'm going to share it here as a Painting with Menoth John exclusive for the brush heads. It was Raven with Silas, a Phoenix, and a Chimera. Sounds pretty conventional so far, right? So then what you do is you take one of the Mega Mittens, one of the Artificers, and you put it with in the middle of 2 units of Stormfall. Then you take the Mage Hunter Strike Force, and you put a Mega Mittens with it, and you don't advance deploy the Strike Force. And so what that ends up doing is that by not you can just kind of move them up 5 and put the no blast damage. And then I do put a unit of the Battle Mittens in there to help because he loves them anyway. And even if a list is anti-magic, it's not going to be completely anti-magic. So I think that what's really neat is it takes a couple of units that can be very effective but tend to have problems with blast damage, and takes blast damage right off the table for them. And then I put a couple Mage Hunter Assassins in there because they're funny.
Cool.
So I played against Tin Man XL with that list, and ended up making. He had some terrible dice rage, but he was pretty sad about that list. So I would go that way. What do you think, John?
Yeah, like I said, just choose the off caster that you like. Any of those will be fine without having to worry about much anti-magic. I mean, I like Raven because she doesn't need to, and she can do some work herself.
Yep, and she fixes the to hit. And I don't care what your damage is. If your to hit doesn't hit, you don't get to roll to damage.
Exactly.
Yep. So flippity bloop.
All right. Well, I think we're getting close to that time, so I'm going to end. There'll still be a couple extra left, but they're kind of in-depth, maybe beyond the scope of what we normally do.
Do we want to think about that as maybe a discussion topic during the first part of the show, maybe?
Or maybe we'll save them for the all-day when we do Sunday during Games and Gears Day.
That's right, buddy. You're always thinking. That's why you're the best co-host in the whole wide world. Yeah,
we got them all saved here.
Yep. So
we'll save them, and boom.
Just to let you know, guys, we are going to do on June 1st. We are doing an all-day Painting with Menoth John, which means I am going to paint all day, and I'm going to drink all day. So stay tuned to that. That ought to be all kinds of entertaining.
Yeah, that should be amusing. But we'll end with one of our standards from Declan Lowry. Says, I'm
Declan.
currently putting together convergence of Kyrus's perforators and reciprocators.
Okay.
Is there a method to the madness of what part goes to what?
Here's the deal. Epic brushhead Ed Defoe, as many of you may know him, the man that painted my Assyria. He offered to sell me a very extensive convergence list at a very good price, and I had to turn him down because none of it was assembled. And so Declan, it was an amazing price. Let me just put it that way. And Declan, I got nothing for you. You picked up Convergence. You knew what the heck you were getting yourself into. That faction is a nightmare to assemble. And the day that I get a faction where every model to assemble is as hard as putting this together, forget about it. I don't have time for it. So you got yourself into this mess, Declan. You get yourself out. I got nothing for you. John, do you have anything?
Yeah, there is no method, just madness.
Exactly. Good. God, that's such a great answer and so much more brief than mine was. Outstanding. Way to go, John. So that is our last flippity blue for tonight.
For tonight, yeah. We'll save the rest. Like I said, most of those are probably the ones you have to spend time answering.
Yep. June 1st. June 1st is going to be it's the first Sunday in June, right?
It should be, because, the 8th is our invitational, which is a week later.
Yep. So that's the first Sunday in June, which is Games and Gears it's like game day. It's every Sunday in June is going to be game day. We're not going to do an all-day podcast every day in June because, John, I don't know about you, but I'd like to have a life. Yeah. And so we're going to do that first one, and we're going to do an all-day thing. What time should we turn on, John? What do you think?
I don't know. What time's good for you? I mean, I'll be home all day, and your Central time, so it's a little weirder.
Why don't we say 9 o'clock Central?
Sure.
I'm thinking that way I can kind of get up and take a shower, and that way I can not be quite so funky for the brush heads. And then that's 10 o'clock, which is a pretty manageable time for the East Coast. And,
yeah, I'll be fine. I get up by 10 every week anyways.
And that puts us at 7 o'clock on the West Coast. And so, European listeners, this is a big opportunity for you to participate in the chat room. We will be on Twitch TV all darn day. I'm excited about getting more of our European listeners. I'm going to challenge Neek, who shows up on the show as Ursus Octavir, to come on here, and maybe we'll bring him on as a guest.
We can do like rotating guests or something crazy like that too.
I think that would be a lot of fun. So we're going to do that. If the Brushheads have any suggestions around fun stuff that we should do during a long show, I'm willing to go until, what time do you turn into a pumpkin on Saturday, buddy?
What do you mean, on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean on Saturday. On that, whatever that show is going to be. It's going to be a Saturday or Sunday. It's June 1st, whatever it is. Sunday.
Pretty sure it's a Sunday. Really late. It'd have to be done by 11 my time, 10 your time.
Okay, so I'm going to say let's cut the show at normal show cut time because
that sounds good. 12 hours.
Cosmos is still a thing. Game of Thrones is still a thing. I think we need to honor that. And why don't we go ahead and do that? So plan on a big, long show. 12 hours of Painting with Menoth, John. It's going to be epic. We're going to drink a lot of rum. I'm going to be really drunk by the end of it. It's going to be amazing. So
yeah, I'm going to have to make sure I get the right food for that. You might have one of us vamping for a while so no one can eat or something.
I'm hoping that Belinda Librarian will help me out by bringing me food occasionally.
I've got wireless headphones, so I can just walk over and make it while I'm in the headphones.
I hate you and your technology.
Yeah, well, I have an easier setup than you, fortunately.
Yeah, fortunately for you.
Yes.
Hey, so here we are. We're at the third half hour, the media portion of the show, and I'm going to raise this time. I'm going to raise a two women. I've got a little bit left in the bottle here, and part of the drive to 175, by the way, is that I only drink during the podcast. See, there's a lot of calories here, so I'm going to take that and I'm going to eliminate it. I'm just throwing it out. See how my hand is going across here? I'm going to throw it out right there. And only going to drink during the podcast. So for all of you who are joining us on the drive to 175 or driving to whatever number you need to drive to, this one's for you. Hey, Ron.
Ron.
So
Yeah, I've already cut out my extra snacks and soda at lunch and
good man.
movement control portions. I'm just trying to see if I can cut out that stuff and not change too much more of my life.
You know, I'm going to look it up, and I'm going to bring it to the Brushheads in the next broadcast, John. I'm going to talk a little bit about calories. I'm going to try and channel my inner food scientist a little bit, and we'll talk a little bit about calories and how that works out as far as what little you have to do to help make, affect big changes in your life. So we'll talk about that on the next show. I got to do some research, though. So let's talk a little bit about media, John.
Absolutely.
So as you all know, as it is tradition here on Painting with Menoth, John, it is the first Sunday in a new month, which means that it is time to unveil to all the brushheads, all the people out there, what our selection is going to be for this month's Painting with Menoth, John movie club. I wish I had theme music for this, John. But I'm not quite there yet with the production value.
All right. Well, good. I just double checked, and our movie is still available in all the formats we care about.
So that's great news. So I'm sure most of the brushheads are dying to hear what the selection is going to be. We have decided to pick something maybe a little bit more mainstream, maybe than what you might come to expect. I mean, a lot of times people are probably expecting us to go with Sharknado 2 or Species 4 or something ridiculous like that. We've decided to go with a James Bond movie. We're gonna go with Skyfall.
Yeah, it's on Netflix and Amazon Prime. So, and also on Epix if you have that. I don't know anyone who does, but the website says it's on there. So
what's an Epix?
There you go. No idea.
I have no idea.
I go to one site; it tells you everything it can stream through theoretically. So
you need to send that to me in a PM on Facebook because it'd be interesting to have that at my fingertips. Because it's knowledge like...
It's not always right, because I'm looking at Amazon Prime sometimes, and it's there, and I'm looking at this, it doesn't say it, but it's a good ballpark.
Good. Well, that's a good first approximation, and if we're going to invoke the Newton-Raphson method, a first approximation is a good place to start. So let's go ahead and Skyfall, it's a James Bond movie. It's not the latest James Bond movie, is it?
It is.
It is. Awesome. And I know it's one that, personally, John, I've been excited to get my hands on and watch. I love James Bond. Always loved James Bond. Who's your favorite James Bond?
This is gonna sound weird because it's more because of how bad it was late. I'm actually not gonna say Pierce Brosnan. Not Daniel Craig. I actually really like Timothy Dalton because
good.
After the epicness that was Roger Moore,
he
brought it back down more to where I think it needed to be.
He did give it a slightly more serious feel to it. The Roger Moore movies continued to Roger Moore continued to became campy comedy almost.
Yeah, and Tin Can Sniper saying Sean Connery. I haven't seen a lot of Sean Connery. He was fine, but even his were a little more getting to that campy comedy. So I really enjoyed the Timothy Dalton one. Part of that is, of course, how old I was when they came out.
Yeah.
They were just an introduction to what can be a more serious action movie, but still fun.
Yep. I am a Sean Connery guy. I have to admit it. I'm 1,000 years old. It kind of comes with the territory. Gandalf also likes Sean Connery. So in much the same way, I have to go with him as my favorite. But all things considered, there's nothing wrong with Timothy Dalton. I think he did a fine job in restoring a bit of seriousness, and that's where I think that where Skyfall is benefiting from is sort of that return to an honest-to-God spy movie, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to it. That's why I suggested it. It should be good to watch.
Hell yeah, baby! That's what we love about you. You suggested that, and I forgot we even needed one this week.
We had talked about it. Yeah, I tried to remember. I try to keep track of a little of the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Well, it's because you're the co-host with the host, man.
Indeed.
That's what I love about you. All right, so Brushheads, remember, you have 1 week. You have been on notice. You have 1 week to watch Skyfall, and we are going to spoil the living hell out of it 1 week from today. If you care, See it this week. There. Now Netflix will see this incredible surge of like 40 people that are going to watch Skyfall this week. It's going to be amazing.
Indeed.
Anyhow, so there we go. So the next thing we had on here was I wanted to talk a little bit about a new anime that I discovered, John. Have you seen
Please do.
Have you seen Attack on Titan?
I have not. To be honest, I haven't seen anime since Cowboy Bebop.
Okay. I've been looking for that I love Cowboy Bebop. It is hands down my favorite anime. And I've been looking for something to fill that gap as to what's going to be the next move, the next one, the next Evangelion, the next Akira, the next Cowboy Bebop that really takes my imagination and runs with it. Because let's face it, between Girls Bravo and whatever the next harem show is, that's not what I'm looking for in an anime. And Attack on Titan has a very interesting plot. And I've gotten through a whole episode of it. You got to hang on for a second, brushheads. I've got con crud still, so I'm gonna have to cough for a second here. So, John, just vamp for a half a second about Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, Cowboy Bebop, yeah. I definitely haven't seen any new animes there, chat room guys. I just stopped. It's a lot of the same crap again and again, and just can't buy them sight unseen, and I just not interested. So there's plenty of other movies out there, but I'm willing to give some a try, like Attack on Titan, if it's as good as Mouth John says it is.
Yeah, I'm back. I stopped throwing up my lungs. I caught something in San Diego. I don't know what the hell they got there as far as bacteria and viruses, but I'm going to need another shot of Kraken here, I can tell you that. I need a little bit of, as it became known in San Diego, I need a little more medicine.
Medicine, yes.
Yes. Nothing yells alcoholic like calling rum medicine. So
Indeed.
hey, medicine.
And apparently Attack on Titan is on Netflix.
Yes, it is.
I don't know if it's on Amazon Prime. Doesn't look like it.
Okay. Attack on Titan is an interesting concept, and I've got a I'm going to change the cameras around here for a second and get my glasses back on because I'm sick of painting Earthbreaker already. I'm going to turn my camera on to, let's see if I get this right. Boom, dissolve. Here we go. Attack on Titan is an interesting concept in that there's a city that is completely walled up by 50 meter tall walls, which is significantly more than 50 feet by like a factor of 3. And these Titans are giant, lumbering, cannibalistic, naked people. Which, if you're going to make a movie, you might as well, if you're going to make an anime, you might as well go whole hog and have giant, cannibalistic, naked people who are super tall. And the main characters are a couple of kids who are living in here, and the one has clearly dreams of getting outside the city and seeing what's out there in the world and doing battle with these Titans so that they can reclaim their world. So far, after one episode, there is no background as to where these Titans came from, why they're eating people, why they have maniacal smiles on their face. But it's just weird enough to capture my imagination. So I'm going to say I recommend to the brushheads, if you've got the Netflix, take a look at Attack on Titan. And at the end of the first episode, all hell breaks loose for the people in the city. And that's all I know so far, so I can't really spoil it. I highly recommend taking a look at it. The art direction is really good. Near Studio Ghibli kind of quality, Miyazaki style animation. But it's much darker than anything that Miyazaki does. And I highly recommend Attack on Titan. So after one episode, I will give it 2 shots of Kraken. And it's only 2 shots of Kraken to get you through the fact that there are lumbering nude people.
Fair enough.
Who are smiling while they eat people. So it has a little bit of a dark side to it.
The creep factor is high, yes.
Absolutely. Speaking of not creep factor, let's talk about your next media activity here, John. Let's talk about the Running Man, because now you are Zero.
Yes. Here, plane zero. Now.
You just
Oh, I
played
screwed it up
Zero
already.
now.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. The Running Man, mid '80s movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger, back when his name would draw people to the theater. Um,
Instead of scare them.
yeah, it's a good tight thought. It starts with them breaking out of prison, and the whole thought is that there's this show called The Running Man where they just get convicts, enemies of the state, and they put them on this show where they run them through the ruins of L.A. after the Great Quake and fight against these professional athlete killer assassins called stalkers. And it's just good fun. I have some fun notes from it. It is Arnold Schwarzenegger at the top of his game, really. The only thing holding it back from being one of his best is it's very punny, and they're not good.
The puns are horrific.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's whew, they're unfortunate at times. I mean, the here's Sub Zero, now Plane Zero, probably is the best one in it, and that's saying something. Maybe the ending one, but I'm not going to give that one away. The one from the absolute end. Um, the other things is that the '80s were kind of rapey. I mean,
Go
there's
figure.
one point where women are talking, and she's like, "Oh, you're lucky he didn't kill you then rape you, or rape you then kill you." And I'm like, "Gee, like really? Is that?" I mean, maybe it's supposed to be a bigger indicative of how that society is screwed up, but and then later the one guy tries to rape the female protagonist, and it was just unnecessary. But aside from those, it was pretty good. It was actually directed by Paul Michael Glazer. Do you know who that is, John?
Yeah, that's Starsky.
It is indeed Starsky.
Yeah, I even got the right one. I said Starsky instead of Hutch. I even got it right.
I was surprised. I saw it first thing. I'm like, no, really?
What kind of car did Starsky and Hutch drive?
Red one with a white stripe.
It was
Remember what
a
kind it was.
Ford Gran Torino.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, see? I know. I see. That's right in my wheelhouse, baby. I am that old.
I remember Starsky and Hutch.
Nice.
But, the other down part I have with this is
Huggy Bear. That's all I got to
Bear,
say
yeah.
is Huggy Bear.
The other down point to this is, despite the fact it takes place over a short period of time and there's no real reason for it, for some reason, there's romance between the protagonists.
Of course. There has to be.
No, it isn't. That's what. Look at all my favorite movies. Are like, there's some attraction between them, maybe the beginnings, but no romance. Like my quick movie review last Sunday on Facebook, The Peacemaker. No romance between the protagonists.
Yep.
Hints of it, but no actual romance. So that all sort of drags it down. It's still a good watch. It's for free on Amazon Prime, maybe on Netflix. I don't really know, but worth a watch. I'm going to give it. It's about 2 shots of Kraken because those puns get really bad at times.
Yeah, I have. Just to get through some of that. A couple shots of Kraken are only going to enhance your enjoyment of it. So it's not so much indicative of that being a bad movie as much as it is. Yeah. It takes the edge off.
And stay all the way to the credits, because even after they play the cheesy 80s songs by John Parr, master of cheesy 80s songs, there's some stuff at the end that you're going to want to listen to also. So watch it all the way to the end. And I have to say, Richard Dawson plays a heck of a game show host.
It turns out that might be right in his wheelhouse.
It might be.
Give me Kiss the Audience Member for 500. Boom!
Yes.
Anyway, whatever.
There you go. Running Man. It's a good time.
Highly recommend. Yeah, I have to agree with that one. And then you also saw another movie this week. For those of you, for the brushheads that are paying out there, it seems as though Meneth John is not carrying his weight on this podcast. So
You're out of town this week, and with con crud.
Yeah, I had con crud. I felt like I was going to die while I was in Seattle this week. I was in Seattle for work, and for the first 2 days, I have no idea what the hell even I was doing. So I didn't get a chance to see. I can review the hell out of Thai chicken soup. I give that 0 shots of Kraken if you have a cold, because it is straight up magic. And also, if you're in Seattle, My Typho in Tequila, try their fresh rolls, which are like spring rolls. They're amazing, and they're also low calorie for that drive to 175. So, but
there
tell
you
us
go.
about the Amazing Spider-Man, John.
Yes, this is the original Amazing Spider-Man, not the Amazing Spider-Man 2
Mm-hmm.
that came out Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't seen it because I occasionally slack and wasn't feeling it. But with the new one coming out, I felt like, what the heck? I picked it up off Amazon for $10 on DVD. That's a fine price. I liked it a lot. I was surprised how much I liked it. I will go so far as to say it may actually be better than Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man, having seen that recently.
Oh, shut up! Seriously?
Yeah, well, I mean, that movie's really slow now. I mean, fair, it's groundbreaking because it was one of the original watchable good uh, superhero movies.
And it's Sam Raimi.
Exactly, but two is the best one of that particular trilogy, and but this it just flows better. It was pretty good. Um, there were some bad parts. The quote unquote CGI for the lizard was not top notch. It could have been a lot better. Didn't detract from the movie so much, but it was noticeable at points.
Got it.
The story was better. It wasn't as cheesy. They took straight from the comic book for the original one, which is fine, but they took it, and I'd heard people, badmouth, like, oh, they never said with great power comes great responsibility and all this stuff, but they got that across without having to say it. They're like, we don't have to go cheesy. We're going to get it across anyways. So that worked very well. I did like Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone together. They were pretty good. They had some chemistry. I was a big fan of that. I can take or leave Dennis Leary. He was okay as Emma Stone's father. His death thing was fine. I don't know if it actually adds anything to Amazing Spider-Man 2, which Jessica X actually mentions is the worst reviewed movie so far. That movie is not getting great reviews at all. I've heard some decent stuff about it. Like it's a pretty good time. They actually ran multiple villains pretty well, I hear. Again, this is all from me listening to reviews because I listen to a couple different review podcasts and such. So Amazing Spider-Man 2 in the theaters might be okay. I might see it if we get the time. But yeah, I enjoyed Amazing Spider-Man. One of the better superhero movies. Too bad that maybe Amazing Spider-Man 2 is not going to be that good. I actually gave it like 1.5 shot of Kraken. It was good.
Good. Thank you for vamping there for me, John, because otherwise we would have had pissing in your pants with Menoth, John, and that doesn't work for me.
See, they maybe even never noticed that you were gone.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I guess they did because they're watching you on video.
Yeah, I could.
Now that I think about it,
I should have cut to the picture of the T-shirt if I had really been thinking straight. But I have to be honest with you, I had to go so bad I wasn't thinking straight anymore. So
fair enough. Amazing Spider-Man, pretty good. Definitely give it a shot. I mean,
sweet. So
it's worth taking a shot on.
Like a shot or shot and a half of Kraken and
shot and a half.
Shot and a half. Yeah, there you go. Let's be honest.
And like I said, maybe better than the Raimi first one because that one's just a little slow. This one's a little better paced.
Let's be very honest, John. If we're gonna have a shot of Kraken or a shot and a half of Kraken, we're filling that sucker up to the top.
Sure.
So, I just want to show to the brush heads, in case you're thinking about the T-shirt. There is indeed the original shot glass, and as you can see, the monkeys are in effect. So. No BS. This is the actual shot glass. You can feel like you're having a shot with Menoth John on your chest. That sounds
absolutely.
That sounds weirder than it probably should.
It does. It's a little bit weird indeed.
A little bit of double entendre, maybe triple entendre.
Yes. Oh, and Brushheads, I actually want to ask, did you like the intermittent Facebook posts while we were down for a week? Did the quick thoughts help? Did you like the movie review?
Yeah,
Let us know.
for sure, John. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you putting that content up there. We don't want to leave the brush heads in a lurch. I know that the 14 or 15 or 25 people that actually care about this show, we want to make sure that you've got content on a week by week basis. And John, you did a great job filling in the gap while I was sleeping in bathtubs in San Diego.
Yeah. Plus, I end up with a couple extra games sometimes. Like I had 2 more games this week I didn't talk about. In addition to watching Skyfall, I'm probably going to watch an early '90s classic, Broken Arrow, this week, which you might have time to talk about
Very
on the
nice.
podcast. I could throw that up on the website.
Very nice.
I might even watch it after we're done here.
Hey, there you go, buddy. I know that after the show here, I'm going to be watching Cosmos and some Game of Thrones. That's the Sunday night. Belinda Librarian has arrived here at Casa John, and we're going to watch that this evening. And so, yeah, I mean, if the Brushheads have some thoughts about some things they like to see during the week, one other thing that happens here regularly at Casa John is on Saturdays. My good buddy Zach Watson, who's from Burlington, which is just outside Racine, we have a Saturday morning game almost every week now, and I am going to buy a piece of MDF board for down here in the broadcast studio, and we're going to start broadcasting games every Saturday because we don't want Chain Attack to have the only game in town. We'll start broadcasting games. I don't have to change a single wire to go about making that happen, because here at Painting with Menoth John, we don't touch any wires anymore, because every time we do, something comes completely higgledy-piggledy, and we're not good like that. So
Yes,
that's really playing with fire, right, John?
indeed.
We've had nice, stable podcasts now for like 3 weeks in a row, and we're not going back to the old days. This is progress, baby. And
my local store is thinking about streaming some games occasionally, but we might jump to it. Me and Joe, one of the locals, he's buying all the stuff. We might just solo, the two of us, start putting some games on. I will let the Brushheads know if we do.
well, I'll tell you what, John.
All the amazingness of Drop Zone regulars burping like a mug.
Well, I'll tell you, John, before you get too far into that, I will give you guys the broadcast key for the Painting with Menoth John or the Menoth John feed on Twitch, and you're more than welcome to broadcast your games on the Twitch feed that all the Brushheads here are already familiar with.
Oh yeah, I will definitely see what he says about that.
Yeah, so
we're gonna try and keep it high. We're gonna try and keep it all painted if we can. Maybe just a handful of models in progress at most.
Yeah.
He's got the camera and stuff coming, and he's talking about making it legit, like, maybe doing it live, but also doing like, he's going to get a chess clock you can see from orbit and stuff like that.
Nice. Well, I'd be more than happy to host you guys on my Twitch feed, and that way the Brushheads and all the people that have gone ahead and subscribed to the channel can get that extra content, because we're all about the extra content here on Painting with Menoth John.
Yeah, and I might put a couple more battle reports or quick thoughts and some more movie reviews up this week. Maybe just intermittently, just to try and see what I can do.
Well, that's some great news. We're trying to make the best experience possible for all the Brushheads, all the legendary Brushheads, all the epic Brushheads, and I'm bringing the music up now if I can manage to do it. And it I hate this. It shows that it's playing. Oh, there it goes. Now it's playing. You can't hear it, John. I can hear it because it's in my earphones.
John.
Here we are. We're at the end of another Sunday night extravaganza, and I want to thank all of you Brushheads for being a part of the show. John, on behalf of John Spencer and Menoth John, get out there, try that www.teespring.com/PwMJ, and get that monkey shot glass t-shirt. Try it on for size. You're going to love it. And we will see you same bat time, same bat channel next week here on Painting with Menoth John. Good night, everybody.
Let's build a happy little cloud. Let's build some happy little trees. There are no limits here. You start out by believing here. You can almost paint with anything. All you have to do is practice. There are no limits here. You start out by believing here. This is your world. You're the creator. Find freedom on this canvas. Believe that you can do it. Cause you can do it. Give it a little touch. Give it a little push. Make love to the canvas. Give it a little touch. Give it a little push. Caress it. Very gentle.